Hello friends. So before we start to take a look at the advanced topics on cube development, there is something important that we need to look at, that is cube deployment. So in this quick video what we would be looking at how we deploy a cube which has been developed in our development environment. So to do so, let's start to take a look at the solution explorer. Click on the properties and you see build, debug and deployment option. So for the build, you can see that the output path has been defined as bin folder, and there is a deployment which has a server and the database name that it would be deployed. So basically what these mean is when we try to build, and then when we try to deploy this solution, it would be deploying this change onto our server on the default instance of my analysis server. So it is going to deploy this onto the default instance, but this is our development environment. This is where we have played around, so we would have to know how we can deploy this to the next environment from our development playground. So let's try to take a look how we can do that. So now if we go into our bin folder, what we find here is for our solution we find couple of files. We have the AS database file, we have configuration, deployment options and the XMLA script. So this is the precise database that would be deployed. So AS database file is the one which would be deployed to production, and the XMLA script is the script option of deployment. So what do I mean by that? Let's try to take a look to avoid the confusion. So I click on CMD and I say Microsoft.services deployment.exe. So what this does is it opens up a deployment utility. So although we would not be deploying this to the production environment with this utility, that would be a bad idea. So let's try to take a look what this utility does for us. It asks for a database file. Now what this database file would mean is that would be our AS database that I was referring to. So let's open that up, AS database, and next it asks for a server and the database that you would wish to deploy onto. So we go ahead with our localhost server and we rename the database onto this as demo_test. We move on. So now it asks for a couple of options, that is partition and role members. So these are the various options where you would want to select and deploy based upon the partitions and role members. Currently we have not looked at any partitions, so we leave it to whatever has been selected. We move on, and next what we see is the complete details on the content of the cube. So all the measures that we have created and all the dimensions that we have, and also the connection string. So it gives you the connection string on which the database which the cube will be connecting for each time it processes as per the data. So basically it is going to connect on the AdventureWorks DW database. And this is a very possible scenario where this database would be your development and you would want to connect to the production. So we'll take a look how we can change that. We move on, and we move on again with the default processing option. Next what we see is as I said, we will not be deploying this to production with the help of this wizard. That's a bad idea altogether. So let's try to keep this create a script and keep it here. So we can although click next and move on with the deployment, but we don't want to do so. So what we do here is we create a script here and XML script. So this is a ready script for deployment, and we just say next and finish. That's it. So basically what we have done here is we have a ready script for deployment. So and this is the script that we would need for deployment. Now there is another way of doing the same thing. As you have seen here, while processing we have built and then we have deployed. So deployment has been done onto the server. So the same thing that we did with this UI, we can as well do it from here. So how do we can do that is right click on the analysis services database that you have deployed, script database, and create it to a new query window. So what this does is it basically creates again an XML file. That's it. So what we do here is we again save this, and let's call it option 2, and as you can see the extension is stands as XMLA. Now we save this. So this again is the same script, and that has been created in the XML, but from the SQL Server Management Studio. Now let's try to take a look how we can, and here mind you what we have to do is, again, let's change it, otherwise it will override the database that is already deployed there. So we save it again. And about the connection string thing, so what we do is let's find the connection string so that we can actually, here we go. So this is the connection string that is there, and the event that you would want to deploy this to production, this script to the production environment, and you want to connect to a separate database and a server in the form of the source. So this is your database name, and this is your server name. So just just update that, and that should be good. So currently I don't have any other environment for where I have analysis services installed. So this is my solo environment, so I leave it there. I just change the database name from demo to _test and save it. So that's it. So I'm done. So we have these two scripts. Now with the help of these two scripts we can completely deploy this to any environment that we wish to. And how we do so, let's open this up, or let's open it from, we can see, we've opened this and simply execute. So this means that the execution is complete and is successful. So if we go ahead and view the Objects Explorer and refresh our database, we should see a demo test created. So again, this is something we have created from the query analyzer. Alternatively, there is something which SQL Server provides, and you can take a look at, and that's called ASCMD. It's similar to SQL CMD command, but for the analysis services deployment. So you can also use this for your command prompt deployment when you wish to deploy this script that you have through the command prompt, and you get ASCMD options. So you can as well use MSDN and look at it, various options in terms of the servers and the database. So I leave you here with this piece so that you can at least deploy your cube from one environment to another. Thank you, friends.